wiring is horrible in there. Oh, I think this engine's running a little bit rough, and maybe we let some smoke out of the wires too. Hey, welcome to Two Guys Garage. We got an old '69 G10 van. We're gonna strip out the old harness, put in a new one, shave the bumpers a little bit. We're gonna have a good time on this old ride, so stick around. Hey, we're gonna go to the hospital. All right. All right, here we go with the man van, the bender van, the Ruby van. 1969 Chevy van. Yeah, now a lot of you guys are out there thinking, man, I had a lot of fun in a van like that. And the rest of you are probably thinking, I could have a lot of fun in a van like that. Now, if you look up at the front, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna shorten his bumpers. And you know, yeah, this sticks out here. It's kind of nice if you're getting a little bit of a fender bender. Yeah, but they're a good neat catcher when you're walking around your vehicle, and they just kind of look a little awkward. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is slice this thing, give it a little bit of a shave and a haircut, so to speak, and we hand it back. He'll be like, wow, man, my bumpers are looking way cool. So he'll be happy. It'll give it a lot better flow, and you know, just kind of make it look like it's actually made for the car instead of slapping something on there. Cool little trick to dress it up. Now, a lot of you are thinking, man, how do you get that engine in there? That's got to be pretty tight. Well, these early G10s, they didn't have front engine vents. They had sort of a mid-front. This is sort of a cab-forward design. Now, the later ones you're probably a little more familiar with. They did end up pushing the engine forward. A lot of manufacturers actually back then were doing the, you know, the Jeep FC170 was a cab-forward design. I think even the Ford had a little bit of a van that was cab forward, and they really wanted to get you up front and get you a nice view. You know, what they didn't think about was obviously if you get in a crash, you're going to be the victim. Yeah, now you've been forewarned, so if you're riding this van, you know, don't blame us. Now these doors are actually kind of cool. They'll swing pretty wide forward. Now Lamborghini wanted to do a door like this on the Countach, but the G10 stole it, so that's where the scissor door came from. Ben's done some cool pinstriping in here. He's got the glove compartment done, a couple of the other things around the van. He's got some new seats in here by your buddy. Yeah, Jerry Price did those. Yeah, and these are canvas, so real nice, durable. Hard material to work with because it doesn't stretch, but these came out really nice. Now you can see the van, it's a 250 cubic inch straight six. They don't get a lot of credit, but they're actually a great engine. They'll run forever, and you get some good performance out of them. So Ben's rebuilt the motor. It's got an Offenhauser intake, Holley carburetor. The wiring was shot, so Ben stripped it all out from scratch, put a brand new system in from American Auto Wire. We're going to show you on the bench why you want to do that, because some bad wiring can really ruin your day, probably even ruin your vehicle. So check that out. Yeah, you know you're in a different era. The warranty and liability on today's cars might be a book and a half, but this is the extent of the warranty and liability on this van. That's nice, isn't it? Yeah, well, those were the days. Yep. Man. Well, let's get to work on this thing. We're going to have some fun today. All right, I got all my garb laid out. We're ready to start cutting the bumper. We decided the 3-inch is going to be just about perfect. You can see that'll pull it in nice. So there used to be a bracket kind of like sitting back here. We don't really need it anymore. We're pushing it in. We're doing a custom app anyway. So we're going to see ya. Put that away. The old bumper, we don't need that. Now we got a big hole where we used to bolt in. And normally, sure, we could fill that, but instead what we're going to do is actually put that into the cut. And now we were saving ourselves the work of having to fill a hole as well. So we'll lay it out with tape and try to do it nice and square, get it in a good flat area. Now the only issue with this is, let's say you want to cut on the outside of the tape. Now you've got the width of your cut blade, which is going to throw your piece off, and you don't have a good accurate cut. So instead, one of the things I like to do is do a back tape. So you just pull a piece off, put it right like this. Now just pretend you're the bumper and, where'd you go? Okay. And put one line on either side. Let's see if I can do this. Put it over here. Now, once you pull the tape, poof, you're left with a perfect cut. And each edge gets right to the side and get really accurate with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you over here. Do the same thing. Put it on. Whoop. Put it on, pull the center, cut it, and we're gonna use a 4-inch cutoff wheel. This sucker, this will hurt you. So I'm gonna get my ear protection on, get my gloves, put these on, cut it out, be back.
I have some minor scratches on my car, but don't want to pay to have it repainted. Is there a simple solution? Now there's an easy way of removing fine scratches, swirl marks, oxidation, and paint imperfections at home or on a budget. All you need is 3M Scratch Remover. It uses fine materials to remove the scratches from the paint and gradually bring back a high polish finish. Applied by hand or with an orbital buffer, the formula contains no wax, so scratches are polished out, not filled in with wax. And it is safe for clear coats too. This tip is brought to you by 3M Car Care, performance-driven solutions.
This segment of Two Guys Garage is brought to you by Satisfied Brake Products, North America's leading independent manufacturer of friction technology. Look to Satisfied for all of your stopping needs.
Hey, welcome back. Now while Brian's making some sparks on that bumper, I'm going to play with some sparks of my own. I've got an old harness here and we can show you a couple of things that make you just want to get rid of one and start from scratch. Now, if I look through this thing, right off the bat, I can see this wire here is basically fatiguing. Now what's worse than that is now I'm trying to flow all that current through just a couple of strands. Now not too far away, I can see another one here. These guys are getting chafed. So all they got to do is bump up against a piece of metal, flow some current and short out. Now you got big problems quick. Now electrons flow through one copper molecule after another, and if they're nice and clean and in a straight line, obviously in a wire, the electrons flow pretty well. Now, if you get some corrosion in there, those oxides basically slow the flow of electrons and the temperature goes up. So your wire is going to get hot. Well, a hot wire actually flows worse current than a cold wire. So as the heat goes up, there's more resistance in that wire. So it's a downward spiral. Now we've got an example here. It's a little over the top, but it shows you what happens when you start fraying and fatiguing wires. The gauge, effective gauge of that wire drops. So you're basically running a smaller gauge wire when you're planning on running something heavier. Now the same thing happens when you corrode the wire. The gauge goes down, the resistance goes up, and it's harder to flow the current. So if I get my safety glasses on and I fire this guy up, you're going to see that things go bad in a hurry. Now check out this wire here. It's going to start heating up. It's flowing too much current. Now it's called letting the smoke out of the wire. You can see it's getting red hot in there, and I'm going to shut it off because I think you've seen my point. Using the wrong gauge wire, frayed wires, and corroded wires are all bad. You can start fires under the dash, in the engine compartment, or maybe even the back by the fuel tank. So best thing to do is just strip all that old wire out and start with something new. Now here's a great kit from American Auto Wire. It's their Builder Series 19. Now it's fantastic because all the fuses are already in here. They use a spring-loaded fuse connector so you get great connection to your fuses, and everything's factory crimped inside. So all you've got to do under that dash is run a couple of screws under this thing, mount it up in there, and everything flows out to where you need it. So you'd run a bundle to the engine compartment, one underneath the dash, and one to the back. Now it's great because all the wires are labeled, so it doesn't matter where you are on the harness, you know what you're doing. And the critical ones, some of these highly loaded components, they go ahead and put the connectors on for you. They leave the wires a little bit long, so if you want to use the factory connector, which is usually always better. Now it's got dimmer switches, high beams, ignition switches, all the things that are critical to doing this thing right, especially in the highly loaded areas. Now you don't have to be a wiring genius. They give you great documentation. So you can just lay these things out with a little bit of patience, just follow color coding and these great labels that come on the full length of the wire. The next thing you know, your old ride will be up to date, new and safe, and performing like it should.
All right, we get a lot of questions about painting on our website, and the first one is here from JC, not to be confused with JZ. He said, I was watching you when you're painting the Buell parts, and you said that you were using Dupli-Color flat black. I've not been able to find that product in flat black. Any help you have would be appreciated. Now, Dupli-Color does have some colors in flat black, but what we did is we had the paint shop here, and it's a lacquer. The lacquer doesn't come out as a high gloss finish. In order to get this to a high gloss, you need to sand it, color sand it to a really fine grit, and then you polish it, and it'll turn out really, really beautiful. But instead, we kind of turned up the pressure on the gun, pulled back a little bit, and kind of faded it on, almost kind of in a mist, and that'll give it a little bit more of a flat texture, and it's just kind of a way that we mimicked it. So it's another way to do it. All right, the next one here is from Rick D. The factory clear coat, 12 years old, is peeling up in large flakes in a few places. Can I sand that spot with Rail Can Clear to get a few more years out of it, or am I in for a full sand and reshoot? Well, unfortunately, Rick, you know, when it comes to paint, you just got to go ahead and do the manual labor. You got to do the legwork. There's no cheating. Once you get to that point, you get to 10, 12 years, stuff starts flaking off on an older car, and you're going to have to sand the whole thing, more than likely, and just go ahead and do a repaint. It's not that hard. It just takes some work. So hopefully that answers your question. Sorry for the bad news. All right, next we got here is from Jimmy. We want to do some easy dress ups on my engine to change the look. What kind of paint can I use that will withstand the heat? Now we have this VHT that we use a lot around here. It's very easy to spray on, comes in a lot of different cool colors, and it will withstand up to 650 degrees, which is plenty hot for just about anything that you're going to use in an engine compartment. In fact, we had this, we pulled off the van that was gold. We already had a gold, it's a pretty close match. And mainly on the engine, the big problem is just the oil. So what we're going to do is go inside, we're going to have to scrape the gasket, we're going to get a new one, and spray brake clean all through the inside of this thing. Get it all nice and clean. Now on the other side, we'll want to use something like this Dupli-Color prep spray. Use a good prep saw where you spray it on, then you're going to wipe it off. And you want to do a whole bunch whenever you got an engine piece because of all that oil. Do some Scotch-Brite or sandpaper, get a little bit of adhesion, and then pretty much it's just a one-shot application. Put it on light, and a couple, 3 coats, and you're ready to go. So hopefully that answers some of your questions. Right now we got to take a break, and we'll see you when we're back. Get this back on the car. All right, we're just about ready on this thing. Oh, get my ears back on. We got the muckety muck that's on the back. You can see all the rust. Now the problem with a bumper is that it's been chrome plated. So even on the front where, yeah, it looks clean, there's still a layer of nickel that's underneath. That's what gives it the shine. The chrome is actually on top of that. That's what gives it the protection. And you've got to grind through that. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of porosity in your weld. This was a flash chrome, and you can tell most of the factory pieces, they get a nice bumper stamped. They run it through a quick nickel and a chrome, whereas like a re-chrome would have copper underneath. You do that copper kind of like a primer. You sand it and get it right. So I'm going to go ahead, you can see I'm holding it up here, and it's pretty decent. I went ahead and got this side flat with a file, and that one looks nice and flat. The other one's kind of messed up. And we've also got, I'm going to hold it up here, you can see we've got a little bit of a dent that was left from our bumper bolt. So I want to get rid of that. And basically what we'll do, get up on the bench and hammer that one out. Now, this is no different than any other sheet metal. It just happens to be thicker. So we'll put it on the table, kind of use that. Use an anvil if you have it, and give it a little tap. Watch your ears. Yeah, it's pretty close. A little another shot. That ought to work. Now, go ahead and put it on the sander. I'm lucky enough to have a big 20-inch disc sander. These work great. I'm going to touch it off, get it flat. That ought to work. All right, Byrd, you ready? I'll be ready. Now, we'll hold it up here. I bet our fit is a lot nicer.
Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, that ought to work. We'll go ahead and we'll do the beads first. So, all right, I'm ready.
Ready, one?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Hot. Okay, let's get that bead right there. All right, like I bring you in cold and make you weld right off the bat. Okay, we're gonna get this tacked in. Looking pretty good. We'll be ready to finish it off.
My manual transmission doesn't shift smoothly. What can I do? We'll have the answer after the break. My manual transmission doesn't shift smoothly. What can I do? Internal components can have a lack of fluid lubrication on the sliding surfaces. Z-Max's micro lubrication soaks into those tight areas and gets lubrication back into those sliding surfaces. Using Z-Max in your transmission will keep it cooler and provide smoother operation. This tip is brought to you by Z-Max. Performance you can feel.
How many bikes you got rolling on right now, Brian?
You know, 6 probably.
6.
All right, welcome back to the break room. First thing we have is the battery tender 2-bank.
Yeah, not only do you get to fire up one toy and keep it maintained, you get to fire up 2 toys.
Right, so if you got the boat on one side, the jet ski on the other, the motorcycle, the car,
well, now
the
you
2
need a
motorcycles.
6-bank. Well, what's nice is each side comes with a fusible link. It's a real sturdy, stout system. It's really lightweight, so you can mount it just about anywhere.
Works with any kind of batteries. It's self-charging, so it's just going to use whatever it needs. There's no chance of overcharging. So if you got that vehicle, you want to let it sit over the winter and keep the battery up to date, really extend the life of your battery.
Oh yeah,
it's got a battery tender.
It's got a microprocessor in there just to take care of everything while you're not paying attention.
Battery tender 2-bank. All right, next one we got up is the Stage 8 Harmonic Balancer locking fasteners.
Yeah, the last thing you ever want is for your harmonic balancer to come off. That thing's got a lot of mass in it.
You don't want your lower pulley to come off the crank?
It'll start throwing things all through the loop. You could blow out radiators, spin through the hood. Bad, bad.
These are high quality grade 8 fasteners. And if you see, first thing that goes on is your big washer. That's going to lock into the pulley to hold it. Then your locking tab or washer goes on top. And then there's a clip that goes on the top to hold this. That's going to keep it good and locked.
Yeah, now this is aircraft quality, grade 8 steel. It's got rolled threads, not cut threads.
Yep, made in the USA. And they have all kinds of stuff. This is vehicle specific. And check out their website and see all their really cool locking fasteners from Stage 8. Now, you know we make a lot of mess around here.
Yeah, this is about the size of my mess.
I'm actually a professional mess cleaner, degreaser, tester.
Yeah, this is the size of your mess right here, Brian.
That's about right. So this is the Purple Power Industrial Concentrated Cleaner Degreaser. And this stuff works all over the shop, floor, tires, wheels, ground, anything.
And what's nice is it's biodegradable. You know, you can use it, just like you said, just about on anything. Separates that dirt, grime, and grit from the stuff you want clean.
Comes in all different sizes, as you can see. And, you know, being that it's biodegradable makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. So, Purple Power Concentrated Industrial Strength Cleaner Degreaser. Now, this next product we found, this thing is cool. We found this at SEMA this year, and it's called Z-Cal.
Yeah, now these are neat. They're little magnetic, basically decals with every type of tool you can imagine that you would own.
Sawzall. Bam!
Yep.
Oh. Vice strips. Bam!
Pliers.
You name it.
Sockets.
Drill. Now, I went through the whole shop, wrote like on all the drawers.
Yeah, with a marker.
With a marker, which is a big pain in the butt. And you can see, we just labeled 4 drawers. People come over to your place, they're like, hey man, can I like borrow your tool? See, that's the one you need right there.
Yeah, they need a big one of those.
Right. Comes in a packet of 70, and let's say you have stainless toolboxes like I do. They've also got a vinyl, so you just peel them off, put them on like a normal vinyl graphic.
Yeah, and what's cool is like you're on a race team, things are happening fast. You don't have time to shuffle through boxes. Visual cues, you know where the right tool is. Your significant other's in the garage, you're under the car. You can just say, hey, I need that round shaped thing with the open end on it, and they're out there grabbing your tools for you.
Yeah. And they're actually looking for distributors, so check out their website. All right, we got to get out of here. Back to work.
Yeah, we got lots to do. See you guys.
For more information about anything you've seen on today's show, check out speedtv.com or visit TwoGuysGarage.com. This tip is brought to you by LMC Truck. Sound control mat is scientifically designed to absorb and dissipate vibration created from the engine, road, and structure of your car or truck. Cover as little as 25% of the area for a noticeable reduction in noise. Just peel and stick. Easy to cut and bend to conform with no prep work. For maximum noise reduction, use the multi-purpose insulation. The 4x6 foot sheet has 3/8-inch sound deadening fiber padding and a highly reflective aluminum bonded on one side for 97% reflective of radiant heat. Multi-purpose insulation also has a number of household uses that will save you on your gas and electric bill. This tip is brought to you by LMC Truck. With over 30,000 truck parts in stock, you can get the right part at the right price right now.
All right, welcome back. We've got our bumper welded. Now, our first step is to take a big hard wheel like this on an electric grinder. It'll go really fast, knock it off, and it'll get down to where you can work it. It'll also save your 36 grit grinder from wearing out so fast. These things are expensive, and the nickel and the chrome will really wear them out.
Yeah. Yeah, once you're done with that, make sure you walk up on it because you don't want to leave big gouges. But once you've hit it with the 36 grit, got your flat file, really kind of work it and get it nice and smooth from one piece into the next. Now, all of our location on this panel is basically in line with the original bumper. So the front side looks nice and smooth after you rechrome it, but the back edge just sort of falls out. Now what you can do is get yourself a nice little tape line, get the curvature that you like, and then you can come back later, grind that to the tape line. The back side will look good too.
Perfect. Also, once you get this welded, a lot of times it'll make a little peak straight through this top. You can see we got a little bit of that going on. And a good way to do that is once you get it somewhere in this neighborhood, put it upside down, just like when we were fixing the dent, and you can kind of hammer it out from the backside, refile it, get it down to, you know, preferably 400-600 grit. You can get it to that point, you really make your chromer's life a lot easier and assure yourself that you're going to get a good quality product at the end.
Yeah, you're just going to work on it a little bit. Now, anything about a project like this, not only do you look a little cooler with a bumper shaved in, you're about this much less likely to get into an accident.
That's what you think. Usually once you fix your bumper, that's the moment when you're going to get it right.
Yeah. Well, it was a cool
Put that
project
work to
today.
use.
Yeah, we learned a little bit about wiring and how to not burn up your car, how to not catch on fire. You know, that's a
Yeah,
good thing.
an American Auto Wire kit is really nice and sure makes you feel a lot safer, especially since the thing sits out in front of my shop.
It's easy too. So,
All right, we're out of here. We're out of time. So see you next time here in Two Guys Garage.
see you guys.